Hey folks, how's it going? So today I'm going to jabber about dandelion root, and today an apple tree is holding my phone for me. So we're going to wing it. We're going to wing it. Usually I've got my other half holding the phone, but he's doing farm stuff and I'm doing video stuff. So, uh, Dandelion, you know her. She's probably popping up in your yard by now, and if she's not, it's not long off before all that snow is gone, I promise. So here's Dandelion bloom. Here's her about to go into her dandelion make-a-wish puff, and here's a baby little dandelion leaf, right? So, what do we know about dandelion? We know that naturally she's a pretty good diuretic, meaning she can make you pee. She's good for kidney support. We know that if we dig up her root in the fall, not in the spring, and roast it and make dandelion roasted tea type situation, that it can help with digestive health. But did you know, if you dig the root in the spring, she's pretty fantastic for prostate support. And that's what's really interesting about dandelion. At different phases, she has different abilities of support. Most of the time, I'll tell you not to dig a root unless it's fall time, because you want that root to be like as full as possible as nutrients. Think of it like a root is a plant's root cellar, right? And so they're storing up nutrients all summer long into the fall so they can survive through the winter. So that's usually when you want to dig. And you would do that if you were wanting to make a roasted dandelion root for making tea for digestive health, dig her in the fall. But you can flip back and say, well, I want to support somebody in my life that has prostate problems and a large prostate, anything going on like that. You would dig her root in the springtime, right? And it's really, really interesting. But did you also know that she's fantastic for pain relief? I like her particularly for breast-related pain. You could use her for mild muscle aches and things like that as well. But I bet a bunch of you have done this. You've gone and picked a bunch of dandelion blooms. And you have, oh, hold on, phone. The wind is shaking the tree. um, and you have laid them out to dry, only to come back and find that you made yourself a dandelion puff. Right? You're like, oh, it doesn't work, right? I'm going to tell you a trick. You're going to take all of the blooms you gather and you're going to put them in the freezer for 24 hours, and then you're going to dry them. Do you know why? Because you need her to actually die. When they're laying there, she still has all this energy that she's pulling from her stem and everything, right? So she gives her all to make these little baby seeds in the hope of spreading her future children around, right? But if you put her in the freezer for 24 hours, it stops that ability. And then you can dry them, and then you can make an infused oil that you can use for a breast massage oil. She's also fantastic for lymphatic support. She is really overlooked for so many things. Of course, you can make dandelion wine, dandelion jelly, dandelion fritters out of the bloom if you want. But did you also know that the young leaves are edible, like a green? They've got a little bit of a bitter flavor, which if you're an American and you don't have much of a taste for anymore, but I encourage you to work her back into your diet. But you want to do it when they're little, maybe not this little. They can get a little bit bigger than that, because too far along, they're not great tasting. They have a lot of more bitter compounds, like the come on, brain. I totally lost it. Totally lost it. I hate when that happens. Uh, Latex. There it is. Gosh, when the latex builds up, isn't it fun being a human? When the latex builds up in the leaves too much, it can be not a type of bitter that we want to become accustomed to. But on that note, she does have naturally occurring latex. So if you have latex allergies that are across the board and not just to synthetic latex, you need to be aware of that about dandelion. But also, this latex, when you pick her, right, and you get this little bit of a, let me pick her a little further down so I can get some fresh there. You see that little bit, let me see if I can get it to focus. You see that little bit of latex coming out? There's not much in her. You might get it before she blooms a little bit more. But that latex property is actually pain relieving. Now, it tends to dissipate a little bit when dried, but you can mess around with it. Like, you can take just the stems, right? And you can make like a poultice, and you can put it on like arthritis or bruises or things like that. But of course, that's one of the reasons that she's supportive for pain topically, because even when you dry her and infuse her, you're still getting a little bit of those latex properties. I also really like Dandelion for general allergy support. A lot of people will try to tell you that she is like an important pollinator for bees. Meh, she doesn't actually have that much pollen in her. That's why I can do that and nothing comes up on my fingers. Don't get me wrong, bees will eat them, but there are other flowers that are more important, and I would rather have you be picking dandelion than any other flower that's present in the spring. But like with anything, go sparingly if it's native, but dandelion is invasive and she's everywhere, right? So usually you don't have to worry about it, but all parts of her are edible to one degree or another. Now, if you go overboard, you might get a little bit of a stomach ache, right? Because she does have a tiny bit of a laxative effect. But if you really need to go, you could definitely brew a very strong cup of like, a roasted dandelion root tea, and it would be exceptionally similar to a very strong cup of coffee. Right. And now let me see if I can show you. Let me see if I'll pull this off with any sort of grace. Probably not. I wish my phone camera would let me flip around. It just doesn't. If I was on social media, I could, but not here. So here we have our dandelion growing next to, if you can even see it, there we go, probably can see it now, growing next to some lupine, you know, and she's pretty easy to identify. I mean, we all know dandelion. I guess there are some lookalikes, but honestly, not too many. And, you know, look at that leaf right there. She's going to be pretty standard. Hi, Swoop. Hi, Swoop. Hi, Swoop. Hi, people. Um, Cat came and found me up in the pasture. He's a good cat who thinks he's a dog and sometimes a goat. But anyhow, so that's dandelion, and this is my random tree held up down phone video. Just being a real human with you. And you are definitely smart enough to get out here and find dandelion and make all kinds of things from her and learn how to incorporate her into your life. I will say, be mindful about gathering in like parks or areas that dogs visit very often, you know, because pee and pesticides are things that happen. And don't fall for the old adage that if you see plants like weeds like dandelions, it means that there's no pesticides there. That's not true. They're very adaptable, and often they show up to clean soil. So not only can they still be growing with pesticide, they can have an even higher pesticide load because they're cleaning the soil. So be mindful of where you gather, get out there, get curious, and pull in what's growing around you naturally, because you are absolutely smart enough to do this. Now, if you like my random, very real, super professional videos, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications, all that kind of stuff. Sharing is super important because it helps other people realize that they're smart enough to do this too. And if you'd like to support my capacity to be a real human and teach freely, consider becoming a member to my channel. It's just a way to throw me a couple bucks a month to say thank you. Sometimes you get early access to videos if I get these super professional things uploaded in time. But thank you so much for watching, folks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.